Welcome, everyone. I'm super excited that you're here for Sunday's session of day 2 of the Healing Art Retreat. So if you missed yesterday, I just want to remind you, go ahead and do part 1 because that is going to help you with what we're going to be diving into today. So as we are adding people here, I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you and start a little video as people are coming in. Make this bigger.
Compassion, forgiveness, peace are beautiful feelings to incorporate in your day.
Awesome. Woohoo. We have a good number of people to get started. All right. So I was checking out your focus wheels from yesterday, and I'm kind of curious. Did you guys see any similarities with anyone's focus wheels or something that you liked a whole bunch? I wanted to say that I was really impressed with how supportive you were to each other. I love that. I love that support, and I loved your comments. There was a few that kind of stuck out to me. I love the one where there was like a key to go with it, meaning that they outlined on one side exactly what they wanted to focus on. I thought that was really cool. I also really like the one where there were symbols included in there. And so I wanted to let you know the winner. I'm just going to go ahead and start off with the winner is Gail Cooper, because she included those symbols. So I see your name right there. So I want to say congratulations. You won the Oracle bag. So I'll send it to you. Just like direct message me your address and I will send it to you. So would you guys all like a card for today? Yes. Okay, so yesterday we got the sacral chakra card, which is, this card comes up for me a lot, choosing joy. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do, but we have to make it an intention. So we'll shuffle again and see what comes up. Okay, here we go. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. All right. Let's see here. Ooh, third eye chakra. And it's the card about direction, which is really cool because that's what we're focusing on today too, right? Our direction, our next steps. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. It says, avidly head into the direction of your dreams. Every day you have a choice to take a step towards the manifestation of your desires. Step into who you want to be and how you want to experience the world. Take time to connect with source in order to receive a message for the next best step. Beautiful. This actually is an alignment of what we're going to be creating today, because healing can be fun. Okay, I know that you're here for the online healing art retreat, and it doesn't always have to be heavy. Okay, so that's part of the practice. For me, when I meet with my therapy clients, I want it to be light because we do have a lot of baggage, right? We do have past traumas, experiences, stuff that stop us, right? But we do have an opportunity to create change in our lives. And we're going to be doing some art around that as well. Okay, so for today, what you'll need is your art journal. So go ahead and grab that. We're going to be using more wet media today. So if you have oil pastels, are great. I love oil pastels. They're very expressive, especially with emotions. Acrylic paints are great. I like to do a lot of layering. So, some of you like watercolor. Watercolor is great, but it's hard to do layering with watercolor. But if that's your preferred method, you're welcome to do that. So that's fine if you're using watercolor. I see someone's Raquel's like, I have watercolors. That's totally fine. Use what you have. There was someone that did the wheel yesterday. All they had was pencils. If that's what you got, that's what you got. At least you started, right? It's about taking the first step. Okay. I want to see the chat. It's not letting me see the chat for some reason. Okay. Hopefully it'll come up in a little bit. Is digital material okay? Yes, that works too. That's actually very clean, so you don't get messy. I have acrylic paints and markers. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Let's get started. Okay. Well, I just want to let you know a little bit about the art therapy process, because what's cool about it is that it gets into your subconscious mind. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why I picked Gail, because she picked symbols. Now, like for the winner, because symbols are really important in art therapy, because color holds meaning, symbols hold meaning. And it's important to have a relationship with your art so that you can start understanding the meaning behind it. And so when you seek art therapy, an art therapist to work with, that's the beauty of it, is they help you in that relationship with your art to start to see it, to start to understand it. Okay. So a lot of times we might start in one place and we end up somewhere else. And I'm just going to give you a quick story of a client that I worked with who came to me with a really, really high anxiety. She's an artist, but her main thing of coping was running. And so she needed foot surgery. And so she wasn't able to do her running. So she was feeling this like intense anxiety. So we started there, right, with this intense anxiety. And she started like painting these birds and nests. And it was really interesting through this art therapy process, where in her art series, what came up about this is that she was actually in a stage of her life where she wanted to be a mother, and she hadn't addressed that. She hadn't addressed her past traumas and baggage and inner child work and things like that, to recognize that, wow, really the focus, her big desire was to be a mother, and that she didn't even need to go through this foot surgery that she thought she needed to do. And the attention switched. Okay. So I just want to let you know that like your art has messages, right? And it's a part of this process, this beautiful process of unfolding, that you can allow it to come about. Okay. So now this person has a healthy baby and is doing really well. Okay. She's back into her art making and things like that. So I just wanted to let you know that it's like, sometimes we get stuck and we get in some places. And that's where, with this process of doing the work, getting support with the work, a lot of magic can happen. Okay. So we're gonna kind of like taste the waters today, like see what comes up. Okay, that's how I look at this. I'm giving you a taster, and then I'll talk a little bit more at the end about, if you are wanting to do the work and dive deeper, and what that could look like for you. Okay, so I'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. So just give me 1 second here. Look up. I'm gonna just look at I'm gonna try to keep up with the chat today. Yesterday, I had to like look at it later. And I was like, I didn't talk to anybody. And what kind of paper do we need? I love to work in an art journal if you happen to have one. If you don't, watercolor paper is really great because it's thick. But honestly, again, if you don't even have that on you, that's okay. No stress. Use what you got. Really, this process is not about making a pretty picture. It's really about you being expressive. So please let go of judgment today. Just know that what's there is supposed to be there. And we'll just let it be for what it is. Okay. All right. Okay. So some things came up yesterday. Remember when I had asked you, okay, why did you guys click on here to be here? And you guys, I'm like, what are you guys getting stuck? What is it that you want to heal? Okay. So a part of the manifesting process is not avoiding or ignoring the feeling, right, of where we're getting stuck, because there's actually a message there. That's where we do need to dive deeper, right? And so we are going to be starting with this process of looking at that issue. Okay. And I'm going to say some of the words that came up for you guys, because I'm just going to repeat back what are some things. And I want you, the first part of this process is I'm going to have you just pick, it might be more than one word that kind of came up for you. And we're going to be using one side of our paper, okay, to put that issue. And what we're going to be doing is using line, shape, and color to represent that feeling, okay? So things that came up yesterday, and you're going to use line, shape, and color to represent that. We're going to put that in here, is stress, fatigue, codependent relationships, trauma, burden, comparison, creative blocks, anxiety, lack of motivation, overthinking, grief, not knowing how to stop doing, not being clear on my vision, heartbreak, self-doubt, procrastination, okay, and lack of boundaries and lack of self-care time. Okay, so I'll give you the direction again. Whichever that was for you that you had put in there, use line, shape, and color to represent it. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time here, not too much time, but we are going to be expressive in this process. So go ahead and get started. You're here to do the work, right? If you have a question, you're welcome to put it in the chat. So just honoring that feeling. We're honoring the block, right? We're honoring the issue. We're honoring where we're getting stuck. Pravina said she didn't join yesterday. Okay, well, you can watch the replay and it'll be really helpful for you. So yesterday we did a focus wheel. I'll show you mine, which took the whole session. So Pravina's asking, what did we do? So just a little review. We did a focus wheel yesterday. Keep working if you guys are working. And then we're going to be moving these numbers on our focus wheel as we are working on it, right? What happens in life, and this is totally normal, where we get stuck. We get stuck in our beliefs. We get stuck that we can't do something. We get stuck in our emotions, right? The whole purpose of, looking at this focus wheel, we also have to realize what's keeping us stuck, right? So the whole purpose of us joining here today is we're using art as our superpower. We're artists, we're creatives. We're going to use it to move the emotion, right? Because if you're getting stuck, action is what takes the transformation. So looking at that solar plexus is that action, right? We're going to be taking action to move the emotion. So I'm asking you right now to say, hey, where am I stuck here? Is it with the money? Is it with my relationship with myself? Is it with, passion projects? I don't believe in myself, my self-confidence, whatever area you get to choose, right? Because usually if we have an issue in one thing, it's going to show up in every place in some way or another, right? We're noticing that yesterday, that everything is interconnected. Okay. So, and I told you a story yesterday about like my anxiety with money. Like I wanted to show up and sell my art and have my services, but I had to address that, right? I had to heal my relationship with money and change my beliefs and go through those stories of my past of like what created that. Right. And I did that with support. So that's kind of like an overview of yesterday of like really focusing, because as you focus, that's where the healing can happen, because it has you show up, right? We're going to show up for ourselves. Okay, I'm going to go back to the chat. Oh, you want me to put the prompt into the chat? Yes, I can do that. My gosh, I'm being so good today. I had an intention of focusing on the chat and I'm doing it. I'm proud of myself. Okay, here we go. Here, done. Okay, so I wrote use line, shape, and color to represent where you feel stuck or blocked. Okay, so it could be either one portion of the wheel, it could be all of the wheel, somewhere where your energy. So I want you to like choose colors that represent that feeling. As well, okay? Because we're all coming here with different feelings, different emotions, different experiences, different places in our lives, different ones, different desires. But you have your own personal language, you have your own metaphors, right? We're starting with line, shape, and color. A symbol might come out of this. Let it be. Let your intuition guide you. You know, there is no right or wrong here. Just let it happen. Okay.
Leah, are we doing it just on the left side?
Yeah, let's start with the left side. If you feel like it's that big and needs to go to the right side, you're welcome to do that. There are no rules. I'm going to give you an option in just a minute what to do with the right side.
Leah, do you mind just going through the list that you wrote down of all the things that came up, sort of trauma, codependency, etc.?
Yeah, you want to hear the list to see if what might resonate. So, okay, we have stress, fatigue, codependent relationships, trauma, burden, comparison to others, creative blocks, anxiety, lack of motivation, overthinking, grief, not knowing how to stop doing, not feeling clear on their vision, heartbreak, self-doubt, procrastination, lack of self-care, and lack of, I say boundaries, lack of boundaries, and sense of belonging was another one. That's okay. There's no messing up here. I mentioned that at the beginning. Even if you did it in the center, if you did it on the right, you did it on, it's okay. It's there. Let it be. There's no messing up. Just let it be. Okay. So as you're creating, I'm just going to tell you little things that I noticed yesterday in the focus wheels. Okay. A few of you might need a little tweaking. Okay. Because the way we say things have power. Okay. And the way we write things, the way we put things together. And in the focus wheel, there were some things like release debt. Okay. And so that's related to money, right? And so if you are focused on the debt, guess what you're going to get more of? Debt. That's how it works. So we need to reframe it. You want to reframe it to focusing on the abundance. Because debt is not a negative thing. We put these different emotions related to, so debt is a choice to pay something back over time, right? So you're reframing it where you could say, I'm choosing to pay off something, right? I'm choosing for more abundance to pay this off over time, right? So we're letting go of the heaviness, right? So if that debt is there, if the money is the big thing for you, what does that look like? What does that heaviness look like? So I'm asking you to do that now, but we're going to be doing the transformation and reframing in a minute, but put that heaviness there, right? You can focus on the heaviness now. So you can release it, so you can move it, so you could say, hey, this is here. And then I'm going to transform. Okay. All right. I'm going to keep this part short and sweet because, yes, it's important to focus on the issue, but we have an hour together today, right? So we were going to kind of switch gears. But before we do that, did Leah pull a card for this morning? Yes, pull the direction card. It's all about listening to the source and receiving messages for our next step, which is part of what we're going to be doing next. But before we do that, would anyone, I'm just going to pick one person, would anyone like to share what they just created, just so that we are in community and sharing? Remember, there's no right or wrong. Jess. All right, Jess. Add spotlight. Hi, Jess.
Hey, so this is what I created. And I
Ooh, can you tell
chose,
us about it?
yeah, I chose self-doubt. And I just started with vertical lines drawing down because the heaviness of that, just feeling pushed on. And then I'm used to interpreting my own art a lot as an art therapist. So I was looking, and where I'm feeling a lot of self-doubt is in my own personal practice with my clients and wanting to expand. I mostly see kids and I'm wanting to branch into adults. So I was thinking like, I don't know how to speak the adult language very well. And I always have fellow people in my practice telling me like, you're great, you're wonderful, but I don't believe it. And so this is like the block. And under here is this is where I am. And it's just very gray and blue and sad. And up here is what is getting blocked. Like all the rainbow and the beauty is getting blocked by my self-doubt. So it's there, but I've got to figure out how to remove this blockage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jess. I appreciate you sharing. Beautiful, beautiful. And this is, I mean, if we had everyone share, all like 80 of you, we'd be here for a long time, right? So this is where we're going to post it in the Facebook group. And oops, hold on one second. I've lost here we go. Someone started screen sharing. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to be posting our art today into the Facebook group so that we can see and support each other with this transformation, right? Because this was like the first step. For example, when we looked at this focus wheel, it's not like we just like did it and we put it away and we don't look at it again. This is part of an open communication, right? Of working with it on a daily basis. It's like saying, I want to work out and get in shape, but I just go to the gym one time, right? But we have to show up regularly, right? We have to show up regularly so that we can get fit and get in shape. Just the same with our art and working with our inner guidance or intuition, building that muscle to move forward. So Jess showed us her imagery and she did hers on the left-hand side. I was going to show you my journal, but you guys, you saw how it was very definite on the left-hand side. Okay. So now she's going to use her right-hand side to do a piece about this transformation of what this is going to look like when her issue is resolved, when she believes in herself. What would that look like, right? To have that confidence within herself, that self-worth, right? What's that's going to look like for her? So you could see she's going to do one image and then another image. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be you can transform what you created. For another person who said, oh, I did it in the middle. That's fine. You can incorporate it into this next image that you're going to create. Okay. So I'm going to give you what the opposite of what you guys had said. So you're like, well, where am I going? What is this direction? So I'm going to give you some direction here. For those of you who had said their issue was stress, your resolve would be peace, right? So you are shifting that energy into peace. For those of you who said it was fatigue, that would be moving into vitality, life, energy. Codependence relationships, that's moving into your own independence and self-worth, right? Trusting yourself. For those who experience trauma, it's integrating what has happened, those experiences, into your psyche. What if it's a part of us and we learn how to manage the emotion, we learn how to manage the triggers, right? For those who feel like a burden, again, that's going back to that self-worth. You are never a burden. You are so worthy of being here.
Masasagot mo kepada ni. Wrong na?
All right, we're just going to mute whoever is unmuted. For those of you who have comparison, learning how to, again, self-love, self-acceptance. For those who are having creative blocks, I've experienced this before. It's okay to take a creative break, but then give yourself that time to show up again. Okay. I go through different exercises for myself to get into the creative flow, such as just simply looking at something and drawing it. That's sometimes all it needs, or just simply putting a mark on paper, right? For those with anxiety, learning how to manage your emotions, what would that feel like? What does that look like for you? So literally, you could take something that you put on your wheel and draw it out for like your self-care. Like for my self-care, I put art daily, but you know what? I took a bubble bath last night and I used a Lush bath bomb and it was like heaven. Whew, I definitely want to incorporate that into my self-care. I could do that once a week, right? But like $1 million. So it's like, what are those things? And I could draw myself doing that, right? So that's what I'm talking about, like getting into that frequency, getting into that energy of what is that like for you? What does that self-care feel like for you, right? So you could literally, that might be part of the imagery that comes up. You could do line, shape, and color, but you could, what symbols, right? I had told a story yesterday is that when I talked about meeting with an art therapist and the studio came up, a new house came up, and I was able to manifest that. And I was like, well, I didn't even know that I wanted that. I didn't know that's what my heart desired. I was like, wow, how amazing. Okay, for those of you who are looking for clarity, so maybe just pick one thing from your vision board or your vision focus wheel. For the heartbreak, we could focus on self-love. Someone wrote, Victoria wrote, what are you shifting into from doubt? Self-doubt? What are you shifting? Not sure of that question. Maybe it's, if you're having doubt, what would that look like? I would say learning to trust yourself, confidence, listening to your intuition. What does that look like for you? That's, again, that's the third eye chakra, being able to listen to the signs. What's coming up for you? Stepping into how you want to be and how you want to experience the world. That's what the card says today. For those of you with procrastination, I think a lot of that has to do with actually wanting to feel satisfied, and there has to be some level of discipline of actually showing up, doing what you said you're going to do, right? We have to have accountability. And for the self-care of like finding time. Someone had said, I don't have time. So interesting. I told you a story yesterday of how like when I wasn't practicing self-care and I was going through like bouts of depression and high anxiety. Well, when I would like be like scramble around in the morning trying to get my kids ready for school. And there was this one day where scrambling around, yeah, let's go, we gotta go to the house, and I took my daughter to school that day, and she was like 5 years old, and I forgot to put her shoes on. And I remember getting there and I was like getting her out of the car. I was like, this has happened. You know, I was like, I gotta drive all the way home, get your shoes, put them back on. And how like flustered I was. But it was a wake-up call to me. And the wake-up call was like, hey, I don't have to start my days this way. So I had to say, okay, well, I don't have time. I don't have time for self-care. I don't know, these are excuses, right? So I had to say, when do I have time? Well, you know what? Since then, I started waking up at 5 a.m., which most people think I'm kind of crazy, but 5 a.m. is when there's no one else up. And it gives me a full hour to practice my self-care so that I can be in peace in the morning. And just this past summer, I took a trip with my daughter. And we were visiting family up north, and she remembered. She's like, remember when you used to wake up and go around like kind of screaming and yelling and stuff? I'm like, God, aren't you happy I'm not that way anymore? And she's like, yes. Like she has that memory. And I was like, oh gosh, how embarrassing, but it was true. It was true. So it's so important, because as you take care of yourself, as you show up for yourself, it is going to have the ripple effect. Because I don't want to teach my daughter to be that way. I don't want her to experience that. I want to have a good relationship with myself and with her and with everyone else. So that's why that self-care piece is important. And we can't make excuses about it, right? Someone did mention money too in the chat yesterday. I went back and they said that they hated money. And that is just the sign right there to say, hey, we need to shift this perspective about love. And I know that it all comes from the healing work with our past traumas. I know that it does. I've experienced it myself. Karen says, mommy guilt. Yeah, I had that. Okay. And then someone had mentioned the sense of belonging. The belonging starts with yourself, right? That's always, it's about acceptance, because you always belong, okay? And the sense of belonging, that was one of the reasons why I created the Creative Salon Retreat group, because it was a time where I wanted to connect with people and talk about art therapy, talk about healing, talk about chakras and energy work and all the stuff that I like. And on my regular Facebook, like my friends page, my friends from like high school or college, a lot of them weren't into the same things that I was into. Like they don't care about this stuff. They don't care about art. I do. It's like, I love art. I can talk about art all day long. But I was like, you know what? I need to create a space. I need to create a community that understood, that resonates with me. There has to be other people. And now we have over 3,000 people in it. Like, how amazing. How amazing that we can come together and find other people. So sometimes you have to create it for yourself, but it first starts with that self-acceptance and saying, you know what, I'm worthy of this. And I know there's other people out there who will connect. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Ashley. She wrote, our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. That's so true. Brene Brown. Self-worth, self-acceptance, these are like key in all of this. It really is. Okay. St. Timothy asks, what about burnout? Okay, so burnout is definitely some heavy stuff. Is this, I'm going to ask you, is St. Timothy, is this, hold on, Robin Reeves? Is that who you are here? Just trying to check. Yes. Okay, Rob, you know what? I don't know if you were here yesterday, but you won the 21-day healing art journal experience. So congratulations,
I
Robin.
did not. How did that happen?
Yeah, you did, because I pulled your name out of the box.
I'm so excited.
I know, isn't that cool?
Yeah. Oh, yay. I need that. Thank you. Yes, it's me.
Okay,
Hi.
good. Hi. Undercover names here. Yeah, so yeah, Robin. So how to deal with burnout? Well, back to self-care and do the 21-day healing art experience, because it is all about self-care. It's taking 20 minutes a day to create art, and each day is like focused on a specific area of your life, so that you can reflect on, and it will help you, I promise. So dealing with burnout, that's exactly it, is going back to self-care, right? And finding those tools, using those tools So you can use that. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, someone else had mentioned unfinished projects yesterday. And I want to encourage you to finish them. Okay, because when we're talking about manifesting, if you continue to not finish your projects, you're only going to make more unfinished projects. And the satisfaction of completing something, oh my gosh, it is delightful. I love checklists. I love like just doing that. Like it's done. It's done. I do them once a week. Actually, it's one of the exercises in the 21-day healing art journal about brain dumping and just like letting it out, and then being able to check things off as you go along. But unfinished projects, they can be kind of toxic after a while. So you got to be really careful and make sure that you finish it. Yeah, and Katri says, and the personal guilt of not finishing disappears when I finish a project. Yeah, it's really satisfying. And that's what shows up. That's what, like, for me, showing up to my art project, my process or my projects is the satisfaction. Like, that's what I want. I'm not looking for an external validation. It's a personal satisfaction for me that I gave myself this time. I gave myself this space to do it, right? All right. And I don't know if I mentioned this one. Someone else had talked about releasing weight and heaviness. Again, when we talk about manifesting, we always want to like switch gears where, especially if this is on your focus wheel, what are you focusing towards? The weight, the heaviness? That's where you're going to keep getting. Okay. You have to change the words around it. So this is like, changing our language. This is part of the rewiring here, is looking at, hey, I want to feel fit. I want to feel energized, right? I want to feel strong. Think of words that are going to lift you, not bring you down. Okay. So if there are some of you that have some of those words on your focus wheel, I'm encouraging you to shift it. And I've done it for myself. I actually, when I was in that burnout phase with my kids and work and everything else, it was like every year I kept gaining more weight, and then it finally got to being like 15 pounds heavier than I wanted to be. And I couldn't figure out, how do I lose this? And I was shifting on the wrong things. I was focusing on the wrong things. So I had to take it upon myself to say, well, what does my body need? And so I did change my diet. I cut out sugars. I cut out, like lowered my carb intake. And then I started exercising. It's like, it seems so simple, right? Like exercise and diet are huge, right? But when I did that, I lost like 12 pounds and it came off very quickly because I shifted my mindset around it. I focused on how I wanted to feel. It was, I want energy. I don't want to have brain fog anymore. I don't want to feel sluggish, but I want to feel fit. I want to feel good and strong. So it is really powerful to look at this, but it's an everyday practice. It's not just a one time. You don't put this book away and you look at it the next time I do this next year. I have some of you said, oh, I did that before. You do it as a process. This is like really powerful work when you do it. Okay. Okay, feeling so much loss is what I did mine on. And a work being in the middle, it did the next part under it and over it a little. Yeah, you can incorporate it. Most definitely. It's going to transform. And again, this is not a one-time thing. This is a relationship that you have with your arts, relationship that you have with yourself, and stepping into it to see what symbols come up, what colors come up. It has messages for you. That's the power part. Okay. I want to know if there's anyone, I know you might be still working. When we end this call, you might still be working on it. That's totally fine. But just for time's sake, because it's already 12:40, I wanted to know, is there anyone here that has something that they could share? Yeah, I have a couple people. Okay, cool. Let's see. The undercover unicorn. These names are so fun. I think the undercover names. Okay, where's my unicorn? I think if you, oh, there you are. Let me add a spotlight. Hi. Can you unmute yourself if you don't mind?
Unmute. There we go. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I put undercover unicorn as my name when I created a Zoom account, and I thought that would just be like the name I sign in as. I didn't realize it was gonna be my name, but so I don't know if I did mine right at all, but and I only had colored pencils, so that's but and I just realized the word is backwards in the video, but it says loss. And it's like shattering and tears and just, you know, a bunch of different stuff. And then like rainbows, I don't know why, like have really been speaking to me lately. And so it's, I don't know, you can't really see it, but it's pink clouds underneath it with a rainbow to just like that there's better times ahead, I guess, and like I don't know, kind of see it more in a brighter light. And I never have had a chance to actually grieve any loss I've ever had. And so this last few weeks, last weekend was the anniversary of one of my best friend's murder, and I've been using art a lot to help with that. And it's been weighing me down, but lifting me up at the same time. So that's kind of what I did in mine.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear about your loss, and I'm happy that you are giving yourself this opportunity to grieve and giving yourself some space to do that. It's really important to, you know, honor your emotions and let them flow, let them move. It's a part of that process. We don't want them to get stuck. And Lisa,
it's doing good, but yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Lisa wrote, rainbows are a symbol of hope.
That's what I'm looking at. I had painted a butterfly and posted it in the group, and ended up giving it to a friend of mine who named her daughter after our friend who was murdered. And she had all of our friends sign the back of it with a note on it.
Oh, so, and are you Rebecca from the group?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. I know you're the undercover unicorn.
Yes.
That's funny. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate
Thank you.
Being a brave soul. Big hugs. All right. Is there anyone? I see one other hand raised, but I can't tell who it is. It doesn't tell me a name. Let's see. You want to unmute yourself, that other person?
Yeah, it's Naomi from the UK. Sorry, I didn't know whether my name's showing up or not.
There you are. Okay, got you.
Yay, thank you. Yes, I wasn't able to make it yesterday, but it's just been really interesting. So when I did the first piece about just kind of stress and overwhelm and chaos, really was the word that came to mind. I chose colors that I just didn't really like, that I don't really use very often. And the black just suddenly started taking this kind of form of a bird. And in some therapy that I'm having, we're talking a lot about kind of how this past grief just almost goes like 0 to rah straight away, sometimes in conflict, and then just choosing this very still kind of palette of colors that I really love was amazing. That actually this kind of chaos that's framed out of loss and grief and trauma just really wants to be stillness.
Yeah. Wow, it's really powerful. And so have you been making art about this, Naomi, or is this the first time that you've been creating?
Yeah, it's the first time that I've created for a long time, actually, since actually being in a psych ward about 8 years ago. And then just waves and waves, beautiful kind of waves were coming. And then in the last 8 years, I started wild swimming.
Mhm.
And so swimming in the sea and lakes and rivers has been like a massive part of my healing, and I've not been kind of unwell since then. So it was, but I just really need to get back into creating now, I think.
Most definitely. It's so powerful. And as you can see, it's like wanting to come out. And there's going to be times where it's like the darkness and that needs to be expressed, and just honoring it and letting it be. Um, and making ugly art. And it's okay to make that, right? There's no judgment. It's just like getting those feelings out. And then also saying, what is that? What's what's the direction that I do want to go? And then honoring that as well. So we don't have to just stay in one area, that we can, use the art to focus and then have an intention to go in another direction. So thank you for
Thank you so
sharing
much.
both of those sides. I appreciate it. Beautiful. Raquel likes that you go swimming in the lakes. Wonderful. So I'm grateful that you have showed up here today, and I hope you're starting to see the two sides and how powerful it is to honor, where you're at, and then your direction of intention, and then what we actually want to call in. I think I could take one more. We'll have Misty. Misty, you want to come up? Hey.
Hello, how are you today?
Good, thank you.
Um, this is what I've got. Hold on. I think it's give me 1 second. Okay. I don't know how well you can
I can see
see.
it. Yeah, I
Um,
see art and a couple other things, items, symbols.
I actually chose to use crayons
Okay.
because a lot of my issues go back to my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think about, when I was a kid and I was doing my art, and I used to actually win like awards in school and stuff for my artwork, that I always loved just using the crayons. And then the colors, it kind of starts out dark and then gets lighter and happier, and so it's like a little bit of darkness, but once I can get past that, there's going to be huge happiness.
So have you ever experienced art therapy before? Like, have you ever gone to an art therapist?
No, ma'am. I see. My regular therapist we were starting to work with it. Like one of my assignments was just to actually complete a project, because I hadn't really worked on my art in over 2 years since my dad's murder. And it took me about a month and a half to finish it.
Okay. Well,
And it was just something simple. And then the next thing he was like, I want you to draw a castle to represent, your feelings, how you connect with your feelings. Just little things to try and help me, one, get back into my art, and two, reconnect with life.
Okay.
So.
All right. So yeah, so I do want to talk a little bit about how working with an art therapist versus working with a regular therapist, they're different. Because like traditional counseling, there's different theoretical models and it's verbal, right? It's a different language versus the art. So as artists, we have a different language as far as the visual component and the capacity, and we have experience using the materials. And Misty, you had mentioned, doing some inner child healing, because that's where you feel like you need to go, right? And then honoring that, the little girl in you who says, hey, I want to come out and play. Hey, I need some attention right now, because that little girl never goes away. We always have that part of ourselves that we need to connect with. I mean, that's why I love to go roller skating, just so that I can get back into my 12-year-old self and feel free and have fun. But it has to be nurtured, right? So it's a little bit like it's a different experience, just to talk about like our therapy part. So I do recommend that for you, if that's the direction, if you're wanting to use your art, because the materials can be really powerful too in what you're using, especially with wanting to express yourself. Paints are like really a good way to move into that as well. Yeah, because each material has different components for the healing process.
Oh yeah, I pulled out all my stuff today. My crayons, my chalk markers, my oil paint, my watercolors, my oil pastels, my acrylics. I mean, I had it all pulled out. I was just like, no, today's a crayon kind of day.
Okay, we have more control with the crayon, which is beautiful. Thank you, Misty, for sharing. I do appreciate you sharing your art with us. And I'm going to go ahead and take you off, remove spotlight. Okay, so just moving on, I wanted to see if you'd like to just learn a little bit more about art therapy, and if you would like to dive deeper. Does this sound like anything that you'd be interested in? I could talk a little bit. Misty said yeah. Christina said yeah. Okay, cool. And Robin says she testifies to art therapy and the vision of positive future. Love it. Ah, beautiful, Robin. Awesome. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show you some slides just so we could talk a little bit more about art therapy, because it is journey. It's a personal development journey, and it's a little bit different than traditional counseling. Yes, we are trained as therapists, but we're using the art as the expressive means. So that's where you can really tap into your subconscious and see what those desires are, and use the visual language. So I am curious, like when you do post your art today, because I'm going to have a sticker there, we want to see what's come up. Look at those symbols. We had some butterflies, we've had rainbows, we've had some darkness in here, some birds. That is part of this imagery, and it can take you on a journey, which is the fun part. Okay, hold on one second. I'm just going to pull up my slides really quick. Okay. Are you sharing both pages? Yeah, I would like for you to show both. And Sarah, I can't find the Facebook group. Well, we can, if you don't mind, Becca, if you could pull up the group, that would be fine. Oh, and Victoria said she's going to hop off. She's in a lot of pain right now. No worries. You are welcome to post your art in the group, and we're here to support you. So I hope you're feeling better. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so if you are enjoying what we've been doing here, there's different ways that you can join us in the community. So if you like this experience of being together in community and sharing in community, I have the Creative Soul Society membership. We meet 2 times a month, and when there's also like over 50 replays that you have access to watch and make art about art and healing. What's beautiful about it is that it's really affordable, and it's actually something that we can share what's kind of going on in our lives, and like what's been moving moving, changing, transforming, and letting each other know what's happening. And I always like to learn new art techniques in there. And so we have guest artists that come in. The other way that we can work together is the online art therapy services, which I think are amazing, because this is where I get to work with you individually and go on a journey to find out, what are those past blocks, what are those traumas, and be able to transform how it's been affecting you, right? Because we really want to get into that alignment. We really wanted to get into that healing so that it's not overwhelming anymore, that those triggers aren't taking over. So it's 14 individual sessions. I always like a commitment so that we can do the deep dive. And I like them to be weekly so that we can really use the art as a coping skill throughout the week. Okay. And then for those of you who are looking for manifesting a business, this is something that I've been offering. It's called the Thriving Creative Course. I do it a few times a year. It's going to be starting up again in October. So in another month and a half, we are going to be meeting. This is a group program where you get to learn some skills on how to have a business, if that's the direction you want to go into. But I'm not going to talk too much about that today, because this is more about using your art for healing today. Okay. But for those of you who do want to have a business, then this is the direction. So what to look for in an art therapist? So this is for those of you who are kind of leaning in like, hey, maybe this is the direction I want to go. This is where I want to create more of a relationship with my art, so I can make an art series, right? So I can get out of these blocks. Definitely someone that you resonate with, that feels like a good fit for you, right? Every art therapist is different. We are different than licensed mental health counselors, psychologists, social workers. We all have different hats or different degrees, right? So an art therapist is someone that got their master's degree, and is the highest that you can get in as an art therapist is board certification, which I do have. But that's something to look for as well. You want to make sure that have the credentials. Creating a relationship with your therapist is important. Someone that, like I said, that you resonate, that feels like a good fit for you. And to show up consistently, right? So it's like saying, this is what I desire, and then taking those steps to show up and do the work, right? A lot of my clients have a lot of avoidance. They're like, I'll deal with this later. Part of that is avoidance, right? It's like, this is why we step up. This is why anxiety, depression, burnout, the self-care, we put that on the back burner. And then this is why we have to show up, right? Because I think about even like the story that I told you yesterday is like, I had to go into a dark hole with my own burnout, my own dark night of the soul, so that I could have that enlightenment of, oh my gosh, I do want other things in my life, but I need to make some big changes. I need to have new habits. I need to show up in a different way. And I wouldn't be here today if I didn't, right? I wouldn't be able to here to support you and support others if I didn't show up for myself. Okay. So some of the things you're going to get out of, if you decide to do the art therapy, you get to make an art series. You're going to learn coping skills. You're going to learn how to regulate your emotions, and it's going to have a ripple effect, not only with yourself, but those around you, right? They're going to feel your energy, just like my daughter who pointed it out to me this summer. And I'm like, oh my goodness, thank goodness I did the work, right? I stepped up. So I put money on here because this is the one block that I see, which I do a lot of healing work with my clients, is investing in yourself. Because I even remember the first time I invested in doing art therapy with someone, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to spend money on this. And I was like, why am I saying that? I'm an art therapist. I want people to spend money on like their own self-care, right? But it took a lot for me because of my own self-worth. I didn't believe in myself, right? So mental health is your mental wealth. When you can invest in yourself, that's when the growth happens. That's when you say like, oh my gosh, I am so worthy of this. And I'm so happy I did that, because it led to me even getting coaches, right? Which helped me with my business, which helped me grow my business. So it's part of the investment is an exchange of energy. And when you can change your money story, you can change how it can come to you and how it can flow to you. So money is never an issue. It is a vehicle for growth. It's a vehicle for amplification. Okay. And I totally believe that. So today I am just letting you know, I do this like every 4 months. I come up and I'll share, hey, I'm taking new clients. So this is that time where I am calling in some new clients. So if you would like to, if this is like leaning in or resonating with you, I am offering the art therapy services. It's a commitment of 14 sessions so that you can do the work, right? So that you can have that transformation for yourself. And a part of that, the 14 sessions is like 3.5 months. And I like to bundle it so that you can get the Creative Soul Society membership for a full year, so that you can also be a part of community and do the group work and feel supported. Okay, so you also get that. And we're going to meet in 2 weeks. We're going to be doing solar plexus chakra work because we've been doing little chakra sets. I guess I should show one to you, but we've been doing chakra sets. And so the solar plexus is all about like standing in your purpose and that internal fire, which is really powerful. And next week, I'm going to be sending out a pre-recorded video about how to regulate your emotions with art. Okay, so I'm going to have that available for all of you in the Creative Soul Society membership. So lots of goodies to take advantage of. We also have the 21-day healing art journey experience. This, you saw this picture earlier. This is actually I'm going to pull someone, whoever, you're going to post your art today, and then you're going to comment on each other's work. And then I will pick someone tomorrow who will win the 21-day. I picked a few people yesterday. This is going to be a bonus for those of you who do sign up wanting to do the art therapy services and you pay in full. You're going to get the 21-day healing art journey experience. And this is another little gift of my book and my deck. I throw that in there too. Okay, so I just want to go over the costs, because if you are considering it, I like to be upfront. I like to be transparent. My sessions for the 14 are $2,800. My Creative Soul Society membership is $396 a year. The deck and book is $88, and the journaling experience is $222. So what does that add up to? You know, like, what does this look like? It actually adds up to $3,506 when you do the math. But for today, I'm actually looking at a lower price for you, because I like to do bundles and I want you to feel really supported. So, but I want you to consider what that looks like for you. Okay, so how much would you pay for your mental well-being? Like, really think of a number. If you had something that's going to support you to make a transformation, because if you've been stuck for like a couple years, or if you haven't seen a shift that could happen in a few months, then what would you do? What would you pay for that shift? What would you think it could make an impact on your life? I had mentioned about my daughter seeing the ripple effect, right? So what do you think it could be for you and for yourself, for your partner, for your kids, or even the people that you work with, if you felt better, right? So I put together the package where you could have the individual sessions, the book, the deck, and the membership for $2,800. And I have a payment plan as well, which is $234 a month. So if you do the bonus, which is the pay in full, you get the healing art journal experience. So if this resonates with you, you're like, I would like to try this. This is your time. This is where I'm opening the doors to dive deeper. And all you have to do is do a free consultation. I just want to make sure it's a fit for both of us. And I've opened it up for this coming week that you can actually schedule a session with me for your free consultation. Okay. So I'm going to come back to the chat to kind of see what other kind of questions you have, where you're at. So I'm excited to see your artwork. I'm going to stop the share. Oh, thank you, Becca, for putting the links in here. Katri says she loves the Creative Soul Society. Tried setting up for the free one, but don't know what I'm doing wrong because it hasn't worked. Okay, so we'll take notes. There is an actual more direct link that you can try, and we'll send you that as well. And someone asked if what license. There's only a couple states that have licensure in art therapy, but the highest form that would consider as a license is the board certification. So that's run by the American Art Therapy Association, called the Art Therapy Credentialing Board. I'm researching programs and licensing for art therapy. I'm in Arizona trying to find a good program to do, possibly online. Love to get some feedback and insight. Yeah, so it's a master's degree in art therapy, and then you have to get supervision hours, and also yeah, you have to take the test with the credentialing board. So it's a process if you want to go that route. There's different routes that you can take. I do talk about that a lot in the Thriving Creative course. That's probably something that would benefit you, Lisa. Yeah, and D Arrow asked, is Florida licensed art therapist? No, it doesn't have a licensure in art therapy as of right now. Kara said, thank you. You are so welcome. Would you show us more about your book? Yes, Sandra. Let me grab my book really quick. So I have two books. One is called Essential Art Therapy Exercises. I wrote that a few years ago. It's on the table over there. My newest book was called The Art of Healing and Manifesting. And this is what the focus field has come out on. And I have, it's based about the chakras. And so what it has is healing exercises for each chakra. And then it has, which are exercises, and then it has manifesting exercises for each chakra. So if you're feeling stuck in an area, there's ways to use your art to move that energy, to get clarity, to get focused. And it's a lot of fun. So that is my book. You can find it on my website, so on my Oracle cards, and then this is also on Amazon. Is it possible to book the 21-day journey separately from the one-to-one art therapy? Yes, I do have it on my website. There's a page on there that's called the 21-day journaling experience. And you can just do that. If that's something that resonates with you, you're welcome to do it. And I'd love to hear your feedback and see your art, see what comes up. You're welcome, Katri. She's looking forward to see everyone's art in the group. Thank you for the terrific weekend. It was a couple hours, but very valuable. Great teacher, Leah, and group of participants. Yes, I love everyone here. Oh, thank you for your kind words, Carolyn. She said that she is an art therapist, and I'm going to be working as her supervisor for her ATR BC, and she's an amazing mentor, and she can't wait to take the next steps. Oh, great. Okay. Okay, so if there's any other questions that come up, you're welcome to either email me or post them in the group. I can't wait to see your art. And yeah, I think that's it for now. I think we should end at 1:11. We have 2 more minutes. Make it magical. But let's use some angel numbers here. But yeah, I love doing these free experiences because I just feel like it's powerful work, but I definitely feel like it's a taster. Just like my book is like a taster. I feel like you're gonna get some of it, but I think the meaty, the juicy stuff comes in when you do the individual work to really get into you know, what your blocks are, and then how you can subconsciously change them, because we're not even aware. We're not even aware. And it's good to have some hand holding and some guidance. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, everyone, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. I can't wait to see you either in the Creative Soul Society membership, or I would love to work with you on a deeper level. Okay, have a beautiful day. I'm going to sign off for now. Bye.